Hi, everyone. My name is Patrick Rooney. I'm the product marketing manager at TT Trading Technologies. And this is TT Office Hours. This is TT Office Hours 2. In TT Office Hours 1, we went through order types, TT order types. TT Office Hours 2, we've called this ADL 101. I'm going to show you how to build a very simple algo, the algo that you see here up on top of my screen, and talk you through a few things about ADL, how it works, how it evolved, how I see it used in the field today, and how we expect it to keep going. So this is basically it. Before I get into more of the details behind ADL, the history behind it, and some of the stuff you can do, I want to actually build this algo and launch it. So we're going to lose markets here in about 29 minutes. Should be plenty of time. It shouldn't take more than about 10 minutes to build this algo. But let's go ahead and build that first, and we'll get into some questions and answers after that. So again, this is the algo we're going to build. And this is the algo. This is a working algo right here. And I'll show it live here in a second. But this is all I'm doing right here. I've got a very loose trigger, but I'm taking the mini NASDAQ contract, the December 20 mini NASDAQ contract. I'm reading that with the time and sales block. The time and sales block, I'm using the message info extractor block to pull out some information. And you're going to see when I rebuild how I actually declare what information to pull out. And then I'm looking to see if the trade in the mini NASDAQ is bigger than a one lot. So it's a very easy trigger. And I'm also checking to make sure that the trade is a take, which means it's aggressive buy. Because the whole logic here is what I'm going to use is that if there's an aggressive buy for more than one contract in mini NASDAQ, I'm going to go ahead and buy 3 of the micro NASDAQ futures. As simple as that. So use an AM block. This is a buy block. The buy block right now is set to a market order as opposed to a limit order, just because we want to get it done and said and done. Then I use this alert block. The alert block, talk about that in a little bit more detail. The alert block is a very important block when you're building algos. I use them, and I spoke to actually a consultant last night who works with a bunch of outside traders on how to build algos, and he was having trouble building an algo for someone who's rather loved algo. First thing I told him was, you should use the alert block, because the alert block is a way to kind of chime in and listen to what's going on with your algo logic all the way through the feed. You can basically rip information out of market data and out of the ADL logic to actually say, hey, this is what happened at this point in time, and this is where it's going. And I'll show you how to actually construct some stuff with that in a little bit. But let's actually fire this algo off and see what it actually does. We'll pause right now, and I'm going to go ahead and start it. And again, what we're looking for now, we're looking for a trade in mini NASDAQ futures be bigger than one contract, an aggressive buy. And if that happens, we're going to buy 3 of the micro NASDAQ futures. So we're zooming, and it is started. This is the micro NASDAQ futures over here, and we've already got a trade off. So you can see we just bought 3 contracts of the micro NASDAQ futures based off the fact that there was a trade of more than one big NASDAQ contract. So simple as that. That is the simple logic. Now, obviously, I'm not recommending making a trade recommendation like that, but in production, you might have something like, if it's more than 10 NASDAQ futures, I'm going to buy 5 micro, something like that. Whatever you're going to do, I'm not making a trade recommendation. That's just what the logic is. And that's just kind of what we're going to go and rebuild right now. So that's how it works. And I'm going to show you how I built that right now down here below. So to start off, I'm going to get an instrument block, and I'm going to get the micro NASDAQ futures, or the big NASDAQ futures. I'm going to click in here, type in NQ. Oops, NQ. Oh, it fell out of there. NQ DS21, so I want that, and I have to declare an account on that. So I'm going to pick my account, same account I have over here, so it comes through. So I have an account in here now, and I'm going to set the type from static. I'm going to set it to order instrument. By setting it order instrument, that means it's going to be available in my drop-down list over here of order types. I'm going to scroll down here, order types. These are all order types that I've built myself, these OTA algos. And you'll see one called my conditional, should be in here. Yeah, there's my conditional order, and there's my conditional sell, which I built last night, but I'm going to rebuild this again right now. So that's kind of a tip that's important to remember. If you want an algo you build an ADL to actually show up in your order ticket drop-down list, you must have a type of your instrument as an order instrument. So it's going to be available in any order ticket, which is MD Trader, of course, the standard order ticket. So we got that. Now, what's this block up here? This block up here is a time and sales block. Here's one way to find the time and sales block. I'm just going to type time in here. It brings in the time and sales block. I can double click on that. It's going to drop right in there. It's going to tell me what I have to do. What is this? It's got a red line on it. It says invalid block, time and sales, instrument input is required. So I can click on that. It's going to go right to the block that has the error. I see, okay, it's this block right here. So I'm going to drag this over here. And I'm going to click it into the instrument. And boom, my error message goes away. Okay. Now this next block, what's this next block? This next block is a message info extractor block. I'm going to show you how to get to that. So you can click on there. You can also just scroll down here, see all the different blocks. But what I need right now is the message info extractor block. So I'm just going to drag it in, just like that. And I'm going to connect that to the time and sales block. So what's going on now? The time and sales block is reading the instrument block, and it's telling the time and sales block to pull up all time and sales for the DS21 NASDAQ contract. Done. Makes sense. Okay, good. And now I've got a message info extractor block. Message info extractor block is going to go and try and pull information out of the time and sales block. And I'm going to say, now there's going to be certain type of information I want. You don't want all of it necessarily what we're doing right now, but I want a few different things. What do I want? I want trade as take. I'm going to take the other side of this. So I'm going to take trade as buy. So that's a buy side. I'm going to do a sell side. So I'm going to go trade is, I want trade is hit instead of trade as take. Trade as hit means that's an aggressive sell. And now I need a trade quantity. I'm going to want that trade quantity greater than 1 again. So I can click on trade quantity. And where's my trade quantity? Scroll down. Trade quantity. Because I want my trade quantity to be greater than 1. All right. So now I have that. This is message info extractor. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff you can pull out of here. This is all kind of the information that's on the gateway going back and forth between the exchange and TT. This is kind of where you can pick that off. You can pull it out and say, hey, I want this piece, I want that piece, whatever I want to get. You can do that with the message info extractor block. All right, now I have this block, which is greater than block. So how does that work? I'm just going to type in greater than. It's going to be greater than block. I'm going to connect that to the trade quantity. Now it's trade quantity to be greater than 1 again. So I'm going to type 1. It's like the, oh, I'm on the wrong instance. I don't need it up there, do I? I need it up here, down here. Type in 1, enter, and it gives me a number block for 1. And that's going to be my trade quantity. Now I'm going to set this as default value of 0, like I said. I can rename this if I want and call the trade quantity. Trade quantity, or order quantity. It's actually order quantity, isn't it? Order quantity. Variable type static. I'm going to put this as user defined. By making it user defined, I can actually declare it whenever I actually go in and enter it as an order. I'll make it user defined. And now what do I want with this? I want this to be greater than 1. Okay. So I want the order, I want the trade in NASDAQ to be greater than 1, and I want it to be aggressive buy. So I need an AND block. I'll get an AND block. I'm going to type in AND, enter. I'm just going to add these two, put these two guys together. So it has to be trade is hit now, which is an aggressive sell, and quantity is greater than 1, just like that. And then what I wanted to do, I'm going to want to sell the micro NASDAQ futures based off of that. So I need an order ticket. I'm going to go order ticket, just like that. Got all these little messages up here. What does it say? It needs, I need an instrument. Okay. I need an instrument. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to do another instrument block. There's another instrument block. I'm going to connect that over. And try it again. Actually, I can hold on control. Let's just drag it in. Connect them just like that. And make this MNQ, MQ, micro NASDAQ, DS21, just like that. Price, I don't want to price. I'm just doing market orders. I'm going to get this really easy. Make sure I get filled. So I'm going to change the order type from limits to market. Still need a quantity here. What's my quantity going to be? I'm going to declare quantity and make that 3 as well. 3, enter. We'll run that in as my quantity, just like that. Let's put that as order quantity 2, order quantity 2, just like that. And I'm going to make that as user defined again, so I can declare it every time what it's going to be. And now I'm going to run this AND block over there, because the AND block, this is basically my trigger. My trigger is it is trade is a hit, so it's an aggressive sell. and it's for a quantity greater than 1 in the mini NASDAQ futures. Okay, so I'm going to connect this over to the on-off button. Now it's basically going to tell this block to fire up once that goes. If this switches from false to true, this block's going to do whatever we tell it to do. Now I don't want it to buy right now because I'm going to do the sell side on this. So I'm going to switch this from buy to sell. Now this is sell block. All right. So now basically that's really all I need to run this order. And it's done. But I'm going to show you a little bit about the alert block because again, like I said, it's a very important block. It does some cool stuff. Again, it has nothing to do with trading at all. Very rarely, but in most instances, it has nothing to do with trading. It's really just a logging block. Think of it a way to listen to your algo logic and mark down, hey, what's going on? All right, so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to add an alert block. Alert. I'm going to run this into fills because I want to know what actually happens when I get a fill here. I'm going to click in here. Alert block. I'm going to click on the formula section. I'm going to bring this up a little bit now. More space. And I'm going to type in bought, sold, and I'm put in the instrument. I'm going to do an @ symbol for the @ symbol. The @ symbol tells me I'm going to pull up a block that's actually down on the canvas, on instrument 1, because instrument 0 is the big NASDAQ. Instrument 1 is the small contract, is the micro contract. So it's a sold micro NASDAQ, D's 21, and I'm going to put in the price at trade price. Trade price. And you know what, let's change it. I don't want trade price yet. Let's go and let's do the quantity. Fill quantity and put an @ and hashtag fill price. All right, now again, the difference between the hashtag and the @ sign. If you're paying attention to, I use the hashtag is going to allow me to pull basically market data information, stuff that's not in one of these blocks, one of the blocks that you have here. Like if I want to pull something from here, if one of the blocks, I would use the @ symbol. The @ symbol pulls information that's actually on the canvas, while the hashtag symbol is going to pull information that's from the message data stream. All right. So there's my price. Click save. I'm going to put a little coloration on it because I like to have colors. Now, these alerts, you can have them as going to your audit trail, of course. You can also have sound alerts. And this declares how often it's going to go. I'm going to make the color on this one. I'm going to make it red for sell. All right, now I'm going to reduce this down again. I kind of my buy side logic down there. So I'm going to move all this up so it fits in the screen a little bit. Drag it up. See, I just highlighted everything and I could drag it all in one big chunk. So now we've got this order going over here. We're already along 3, right? So I'm going to save this. I'm going to go File, Save As, my additional order. So just like that. Let's save, saving. All right, now I've completed that. Save, close. And now let's go ahead and run it. I'm going to go ahead and click on the. Now you should see the fill actually going in over here. Can I put the right account in? Oh, now I got to put an account in here. All right, so I've got my accounts. Now, when I actually trade this, you should see a fill actually going over here. And I'm already along 3, so it's going to put in another sell basically, which is good because I'm at a profit now. So let's see what happens here. So I'm going to click on the play button. Boom, it did. It just sold, just worked. And now I just sold the contracts right away. So there we go. Bingo, bango, boom. I just scalped out a handful of ticks in the micro mini NASDAQ on 3 contracts. It's as simple as that. That is, and to actually get it over here now, what I would do is you would actually come over here. Now that was my test basically. I tested this, I saw it, it works, I like it. So now I wanted to get it out there. I can click on File, go to Deploy, and it's going to deploy out and it's going to be available over here in any order ticket. Simple as that. Success, done. That's kind of it. It's as simple as that. And that is how we build an algos. That's how we actually get them out there. But as you can see, I did that in less than 10 minutes. I built the algo in less than 10 minutes, and it's got decent logic to it. You can understand that. Easy enough to do, easy to test, easy to get the stuff in and get it out there and get it available in your tickets. This is not difficult stuff to do. I'm not a coder. I'm not an engineer. Trader. I know markets a little bit, and they kind of made it easy to do. By making it easy to do, let's go back a little bit into the history of ADL. ADL evolved several years ago, and it was basically built for traders by developers because developers got tired of basically changing stuff all the time. Because the trader that was using the original version of it, the developer worked with them and got tired of the fact that every day the trader was coming back and saying, hey, can you tweak this a little bit, change it a little bit? I want to make it to do this instead of that. So the developer came up with the idea, why don't I make this drag and drop, make it really easy. And as you can see, the blocks are just drag and drop, real easy stuff to do and easy to get into. I'm going to open up another instance of ADL. But it's really easy to do. And that's how it literally evolved, because the engineer, the developer got tired of making changes for the traders in his group at a prop shop. So he said, I'm going to make it easier to do. Came up with a way to actually make it drag and drop, make it real simple to do, and bing, bang, boom. That's how we have ADL now. Go through some of the other stuff for you real quick. A couple of things you can do in ADL. These are all the blocks, all your general blocks over here. You've got an instrument block. You've got a field block. What's a field block? Field block is important if you want to get bid and ask information. So let's go back and I'll actually put in the contract here again. I'm going to go to MNQ. Like that. And let's say I want to get the current ask price. Simple as that. There's the current ask price for that's really small, but that is the current ask price for MNQ. You can get a lot of stuff out of the field block. Field block, you can click in here. You can get all this different type of information. This is kind of your property. This is your properties pane over here. So right, when you ever have a block on here and you look for stuff you can do with it, it's going to be over here to the right in the properties pane. And you're going to have a whole bunch of configurations you can do. Don't worry about most of the stuff. It's there. If you have questions about it, this is what you do. If you have a question about anything in here at any time, all you got to do is really go to support. What you can do is you can actually click on support, and you can actually type in your questions. Say, hey, order block. If you have a question about order block, let's see what happens here. I haven't tried this out. I'm going to type in order block, click enter, opens up a new browser, takes you right to the help file. And this is order block. Click on here. And there you go. It's going to give you a complete description of how to use order block. All that kind of neat, fancy stuff that you might want to get into. It's all right there. You've got it. Okay. This is the help library. There's all sorts of different stuff in here. There's the top of the ADL section at all. One cool thing for you to go through in the help file is building your first algo. This is a nice little video series. It actually does kind of what I did right here, but it goes a little bit more because it builds a scalping side to it. And you'll see that it doesn't take that much to actually build that. Now, again, what I did here is a simple buy and a simple sell. You could very easily add a stop loss on top of this. You could very easily add the logic that says, you know what, I want to buy 3 micro NASDAQ if micro NASDAQ is above its 50 period moving average. But if it's below its 50 period moving average, only by 1. You can build logic like that in there very easily. Just takes a few minutes. It's not that hard to do. Easy stuff. And again, going back to the history of ADL, that's the way it was kind of evolved and designed. It was really evolved and designed for order types. It was basically just building order types. Not, a lot of people hear algo, they think these big, hairy, long, massive strings of code with doing all this stuff. It's going to, if it's the second Tuesday of the month and the moon is blue, then I'm going to buy corn and I'm going to short wheat at a price of 7,000. But most of them aren't. What I see, the way I use it, and what we see with customers out there is if they're building order types, simple type of order types. I'll give you an example of that. So there's a lot of examples you'll be able to find in here very easily. And let me show an example of that. I can go into File, Open. This is all the algos that I've built, but they're all tagged as owned because I own them, obviously. But if you scroll down, you're going to see a bunch of them that are actually labeled as shared. Shared can mean an algo comes from someone else's group. Shared could also be one that's designed by TT. TT has designed and pushed out a lot of algos. This one is the one I was looking for exactly, with a tick. What is with a tick? With a tick is literally what ADL was designed for, the very first instance of it. It was designed for how to actually use a with a tick. If you don't know what with a tick is, I'm an old floor guy, long time ago. And what brokers and clerks are trying to do is get banks to allow us to work in order with a tick. They kind of flick their ear. And what that means is work with the tick. So if I'm working a 15 bid, I'm working like a 15 bid on 500 contracts, and I think the 16 offer is going to go away, I might tell the customer, hey, can I take a tick on this? So I take a tick on that. If I think the 16 offer is going to go away, it's going to trade out, it's going to get pulled, I can now aggress and go up to 16, bing, bang, boom. And now I've got 16s done, and you don't have to worry about the 15s anymore. So that is with tick. And again, you can see exactly how TT designed this algo. It's all written down right here. This is literally how we did it. This is a great way to learn ADL because you can go and actually click through the blocks and see exactly what everyone's done. You can see exactly how the engineers built this, and you can see exactly how they did that logic. So it's great educational stuff. So again, I highly recommend that. If you have access to ADL, get in and look at all of these algos. Obviously, you're not going to have this many algos in yours when you open it up, but you are going to have the shared ones. So again, here's another one, a bracket TT. Want to build a bracket? That shows you how to do it. You can actually go and you can take the logic we have, you can tweak it, make it your own. And again, there's just a plethora of algos in here. And again, the ones that are marked shared, those built by there's OCO, there's another example. Curious how TT would build an OCO? Well, it's in there. So a lot of TT order types that you see that we saw in the last presentation are actually in here right now. Not all of them, but most of them. And this again shows you exactly how that algo is built by the TT engineers and TT product team, how they came about with that process and how they built it out. So that kind of gets you through the algos and how we built them and how we do them. Are there any questions thus far? I'm going to put a question out so there's a Q&A section here. Is there a way to read order speed? Way to read order? Well, yeah, if you go down here, obviously this is a simulation right here, but you can see there's going to be timestamps down here when you run the algo. Let me click down here and run this again. See if I get anything, but yeah, you can have timestamps down here. You can actually collect timestamps too. What I mean by collect timestamps, you can actually go into this alert block and add a call for the time. So with that, you'll be able to pull the time. There's not a timestamp. Yeah, there's a time right here. But then you can collect timestamps throughout the algo process too by actually making a call for the time. So that has. Are there any other questions? Let's see what's thus far. All right, so let's open up. I'm going to open another blank instance. You can just go through some of the blocks so you can get a little more comfortable with what some of these blocks are and what they're doing. But the instrument block we went through was simple, really easy. Field block, that's where you get all your information based on bid and ask, all that type of good stuff. So let me put the contract in here. I'm going to go with MES. In my account. And another thing I want to point out, a lot of people, surprised when we get tickets on this, a lot of people think, well, hey, I've got this logic in my algo, but it's not doing anything. Why isn't it doing anything? This is a start button. You need to click that start button. What if you have an algo design, you want to get it going and run through to see what happens, you need to click the start button up here. So very important. And also auto-compile. I use auto-compile. Auto-compile means it's compiling all the time. Every time you can change to it, it's going to compile that data and keep it up. You can turn that off, and then you got to do a manual compile, but it gets a little more occluded if you do that. So I leave it on auto compile all the time when I'm building stuff. Existing order block. Existing order, don't want to get into that right now. That's essentially, you actually saw that in the algos we're looking at. The existing order block allows you to build logic to attach onto a resting order. So if you have an order, again, if you're going to build with tick, you want to put with tick on a resting order. That's called an order management algo, an OMA. And you could build something like that with the existing order block, because this will bring in information from resting order, and you can build logic out there to actually manage at that point in time. So that's kind of the order management type of block. This is your order block. Important stuff you got to remember there. Nice thing here is, again, the bottom of the pane tells you, I leave the problems section open up all the time because it tells you what you got to do and tells you where it is too. So again, I just put a block down there, pop up these 3 error messages. I can click on the first one, instrument input required. Takes me to the block that's a problem. I can go ahead and type in and add what my instrument's going to be now. So I can run this over here. Just like this. You see that error message went away. It's going to say I need a quantity. Again, we know how to do that. Type in 5, enter. Quantity. And of course, what else we need? We need a price. Price input is needed. I'll put it in at the ask price. I'll flip this over from a buy to a sell. Simple as that. Other blocks, discrete order block. Discrete order block, kind of referred to as a one and done block. It's a little bit more going on there, but what you're going to do is it's used a bit for if you just want to put in one order and that's all you want to do. Although you can make it loop as well, but it's kind of a one and done type of thing, and that's the way I could look at it. And if you have a question about it, go into the help files. It gets you there real quick. Single order container, a little more complex than you want in a one-on-one type of thing. We'll get into that later. Market state block. We've got a time and sales block. We got a price block. You got a message info extractor block. You have a value injector. What are the ones that are important that I use a lot? Sequence block is actually a really cool block that I use a lot. Why do I use that? Because a sequence block controls what blocks down your stream gets the data next. So let's say I've got an algo that's kind of important. Discard changes. This is market sweep block or market sweep algo that I have. Again, these aren't recommendations, but it's just kind of reminders. This is the market sweep block, and I use the sequence block to declare where the information is going to go next. Why? Because the logic that I have here, I have to have this block to update next or first before this block does and before this block does. So as simple as that. So in the instance of what's going on here, this is for RBOB for DC19, October 19. Change that so we get some more data. RB. Go to Fed 22. And again, what I'm using is time and sales block. It's going to message info extractor block, message info extractor block here goes to the sequence block. So the information coming out of the message info extractor block is trade data, but for reasons that I'm not going to get into, I need this block to get that information first. So before this block changes, I need this block to update. So that's why I use a sequence block, because otherwise, if this information gets to these blocks beforehand, it's going to screw up my logic down the stream. So a sequence block is important because, again, it does exactly that. It controls what part of your algo gets the data next. We've got things like a branch block. A branch block is just going to allow you to say, hey, I want this information to go from point A to point B. Simple as that. State block, value block. You have a series of math blocks, as you might expect, standard blocks. And this is a big block that we just added this year, last year. It's called the analytics block. The analytics block is out there if you want to do something with technical indicators, basically. I'll go into one that I'm working on right now. This is a Bollinger Band algo. And what I'm taking is I'm taking a analytics block. With the analytics block, I can go in and declare, hey, what indicator do I want? Well, I have a series of indicators that are available here. You've got average to range, Bollinger Band, moving average, convergence, divergence, so moving average. You can see there's a list. Stochastics, weighted moving average, blah, blah, blah. So you got a handful of indicators you can use and you can declare for your trading. So a lot of people like to use technical indicators. I've got some algos built on this too. You know, even if it's just a moving average, you can build moving average with a separate block, or you can build moving average through the analytics block. But if you want to get a more advanced stuff like a Bollinger Band, or you got to get involved with standard deviation, things like that, use the analytics block. Beautiful thing about the analytics block too is you get trade history. So you can actually go in and say, hey, I need to look back for the last 50 hours or 30 days or whatever it is. Say 30 hours. You can go back to the last 30 hours. You can do that with the analytics block. That's an important component. You've got some back part to it. And I say back part, I can say back test too, I guess, is certain thing, because TT does have back testing as well. And you can back test any of the algos you build here in ADL with the back testing platform that's part of TT, which is in beta right now, but you can get access to that if you talk to your account manager. It's a bit of a cost involved to it, but you're welcome to get into that. Couple of the blocks that I kind of use frequently. You know, let's go another algo that I have. I'll go into just another algo that I've used recently. There's no, this one isn't complete though, but again, a lot of algos, there's not much that to it. A lot of people here think algo, think there's all this great, massive amount of information to it, but a lot of the algos that I design and I build don't have a huge amount of information going on there. So that's important to think back to. You know, this is a bid back too. All this is doing is going in, it's going to bid back two ticks off the inside market all the time. It's very simple to do, but that's what I want. Why would you do something like that? Well, you don't fat finger that way for one thing. You want to make sure that you're not buying into the market. You want to have passive orders. You can do that. You can always make sure your order is going in two ticks back. So it makes a lot of sense. Markets move really fast. And of course, with MD Trader, you've got some control over where it's going, but you always want to put your order in 2 ticks behind the market, so you can do that. Or so honestly, the questions that have come along, you know, I don't believe there's any. Let's see what other blocks we really talk about. That's basically the basis of ADL. We've gone through some of the easy high-level stuff, and what I recommend is if you have access to ADL, get in there, start playing around with it. There's a lot of learning information out there. And again, let me go back to where you can find that. Go to support, go to the help library. And I'm going to go into the Linux block. There's algo trading. Actually, I want to go back to the help library. Click on support. And I'm just going to type in, say I want to ask about the time sales block, time sales. It's going to get me there. So that's basically it. That gets you through it. That gets you through all the information. Let's go through a few other simple algos that we've kind of done, or what else we can do. I'll build another algo for you real quick. Let's go to a new. I'm going to bring in the instrument block again. Easy to find. I'm going to make this. Actually, I'm going to go to Bitcoin now because markets are closed. So get a BT. We're going to get a Bitcoin contract now. BTC, USD. Go to there's a theorem at BitMEX. So yeah, I'm glad to point that out too. So obviously this works with cryptocurrency as well as with futures. So now I've got a Ethereum contract. Let's say I want to go in at the ask. And I want to join the ask. Change to a sell ticket. Run Ethereum down. Let's say I want to do 1,000 $1,000. Run it in. That's all there is to it. That's what order ticket. That can be a simple order ticket built into TT, built into the platform. You can get it, and that's all there's to it. That gets you done. Then let's say you want to actually click some information from that. So what you might want to do is when it gets filled, is you want to know what got filled. So I'm going to go and grab a message info extractor. And I'm going to run that to the fills block like that. And I want to find out what my trade price. I want to find out my trade quantity. Or just like that. And you can just keep going. So that's basically it. That's kind of, we're going to find an algo like that real quick. Join inside. There's just another simple algo that just joins the inside market all the time. It's just a handful of blocks. It's real simple. It's real easy. Let's get this real easy. What's this logic doing? This logic is going to go to the November Brent. It's going to go to the best ask. And it's also going to put an order at the best ask plus 1. How does that work? Well, let's say you want to spread 2 orders out at the best ask as well as at the best ask plus 1. That does it. And then all you need is a click of the button. You can add it onto your ND trader. Let me show you what I mean by that. And click on ND trader. I can go to edit custom action buttons and add new button. Let's say I want to add that my conditional order that I put in before. My conditional order, just like that, is now on here. So here. I'm going to call it my C, just so I know what it is. Now the algo that I built earlier is available on an order ticket. It's basically available on ND Trader. So you got it that simple, that easy. That's another algo that I built, but so it's as simple as that to actually build an algo and add it to your order ticket or your ND Trader. They're, of course, always available on order ticket as well. Let's see if there's anything else we want to get into with your ADL. I don't think so. Are there any other questions we have out there? Does anyone ask anything at all about what to do with ADL, what they can do? All right. Well, that's it. We might just call it a wrap. I think we got it done. I think we got the information out there. But again, the point that we're trying to show across here is the fact that building algos in ADL is very easy to do. It's much easier than you might anticipate. You can get it done. If you have questions, like I said, enter a support ticket. If you have a question when you're building the algo, enter a support ticket. And it'll get through there to an analyst, and the analyst or myself or Russell Tromans or someone will get back to it. Someone from CS will get back to it and reply to you and let you know, hey, this is what's going on with the algo. We can't build algos for you. We can't really show you that much logic, but we can tell you where you kind of get stuck and hung up. So keep that in mind. And with that, I think I'm going to tell Vince, who's working again the audio-visual side, that we are going to knock this out and finish it up. So I think we're done. Again, if anyone has any questions, they can always reach out to me. I'm Patrick Rooney at TT. Email is patrick@trade.tt. Always encourage you to follow me on social media. I put a lot of this stuff out there on social media, so follow me on Twitter at Patrick Rooney, and of course, follow Trading Technologies at Trading Tech. If there's no other questions, then we're going to go ahead and log out and hope you all have a happy, safe trading day and evening, and are back at it again tomorrow. That'll be it. Have a good night, everybody.